But we are now on day 2 of the Vet Your Spending Challenge. And this is a moment where you really want to begin to brace yourself for this ride. Day 2 or day 1, we took it easy. Day 2 is going to be some fun. And then the rest of the days are going to be enlightening, emotional, all over the place. But I'm pretty sure by the time we get to the ending of this experience, you are going to not only thank me, but you're going to thank yourself. You are going to thank yourself. So, because I am someone who is very intentional about the work that I create, about the curriculums that I design, and about the exercises that I curate, I am also someone who does my own work. Yesterday's assignment was for you to complete your growth work around asking a simple question around what was the last thing that you spent money on? And then asking yourself, was it something that you actually needed? Can you reuse it? What was the value of it? And maybe not even what was the value of it, but I'm hoping that you had an opportunity to think through that while you were answering the growth work questions. So because I am a doer of my work, I want to show you guys evidence that I did my growth work too. I did my growth work too, and I actually submitted it through the growth work portal. For those who are registered, you've received access to the portal link where you could privately submit your submissions to me. So for those of you who have submitted your submissions, I read through all of them, and I'm giving you a huge kudos for starting this work and doing this work. You're off to a great start. Just keep the momentum going. Just keep the momentum going. But I even did my own growth work. So yesterday I shared with you all what I actually spent my money on. And I'm showing you guys exactly what that was and what that breakdown was. So I explained yesterday as a part of the growth work that you would identify what you spent money on, what it was, can you reuse it, and so forth. And so I asked you guys to break it down, itemize the expense. So I had to go and pull up my receipt. I had to go and pull up my receipt, which I did, and I showed exactly what I purchased, exactly how much it cost, exactly what the delivery fees were, estimated fees and tip, and so forth. And so my total came up to this particular amount. And so as I went through the exercise of doing the growth work around how much I spent, if it was a consumable, I told you guys, I shared with you the reason why I purchased this item, because I was really fiending for my mom a little bit, and I needed something to remind me of her. But here's an interesting thing. So you all know that I do this challenge every single year, and each year I keep track of my prior responses because I do my own work. And I got the conviction today to think back and go to my responses from last year to see, well, what was the thing that I bought, the last item that I bought when I did the Vet Your Spending Challenge last year? Believe it or not, I have a confession to make. So this post that I'm showing you guys right here was from 1 year ago, because I had posted on the community page the growth work card for the day, and folks would either put their comments underneath there and also submit it through the portal. But I went back and I found my actual response. And when I look at my response, I had to say to myself, where are these things? Where are these things? So the thing that I purchased last year, 1 year ago from this date, it was a 2-pack of call bells, which I still have the call bell. The call bell is actually on my desk. It's 2 of them. I keep one up here and I have one downstairs. And I also purchased a dry erase board for my refrigerator. If you guys from last year, if you guys remember me sharing this, then you know. And I also purchased a meat thermometer. So when I walked in my home today, guess what I did? I went and I looked for the items. The dry eraser board is still in the original package that it came in, unopened, untouched, unused. The meat thermometer is still in the original package, untouched, unopened, unused. So why am I sharing this with you? Why am I sharing and I'm showing you not only my growth work from 1 year ago, the thing that I purchased that I felt like I needed in the moment, that I ordered on that day, and at the point that I had did this particular growth work assignment, my package did not arrive yet. It did not arrive. And so because it did not arrive, I couldn't really speak to my use of it. But 1 year later, reperforming this exercise, what am I seeing? What am I doing? What am I looking up? I'm finding the very things that I purchased a year ago, and I'm seeing that it is untouched, that it is unopened, and it is unused. How many of you have found yourself in a buying situation just like that? How many of you have so many things in your home that is still in its original package, that still has fresh tags on it, that still hasn't been opened out of the box? And can you imagine how many things that you have bought for others that's the same way? They never touched it. They never opened it. They never used it. How do you think that your hard-earned money should feel at this point? I was extremely convicted by this moment, extremely convicted by this. And here is why I want us to really talk about revisiting the value of what it was that you purchased. A lot of you guys in your growth work assignment, you shared that you did the same thing that I did. A lot of us bought food. Some of us bought consumable items. Some of us bought snacks. Somebody bought a journal, which I love. Somebody got a journal as a part of this challenge. So kudos to you for that. But really thinking about how did it make you feel reflecting on the last thing that you bought? So for me, it was more so of an emotional somewhat thing because I was thinking about my mom. But what really struck a chord with me was looking at what I purchased last year and I didn't touch it. And this is why this challenge is so important, because we have so many instances where we utilize things and we spend resources without having an actual plan of using it or a reason for using it. But that's going to change. So think about the value that that particular thing brought for you. But then I want you to think about what's your reason for the season, because so many of us buy things because of the sake of a holiday. But why do the holidays even matter to you? Why do the holidays even matter to you? If you think about all of the major holidays that occurs on a recurring basis, we have the same holidays that are on repeat. And sometimes we have new holidays that are established based on maybe legislative authority and so forth. But more commonly, we have our known holidays that happen. And so on the screen, you're going to see a listing of all of the federal holidays for this particular year that we're in. So if you think about all of the holidays and you think about the major holidays, and you can look at this list and see what will be a major holiday for you. Everyone loves to celebrate New Year's, but when you think about New Year's, people aren't really exchanging gifts in that aspect. So when I want you to look at this list, I want you to think about those instances in which you would typically spend money either for the season or the event in and of itself, or for the purposes of buying things for others in exchange for you receiving gifts as well. Or it could be one-sided. So typically New Year's Day, you're not seeing people getting gifts. You're not seeing people sharing gifts. Most thing you probably get is some mistletoe or maybe a bottle of wine. MLK, we don't see anybody exchanging gifts during that holiday. President's Day, you don't see anybody exchanging gifts during that holiday. Memorial Day, you don't see anybody exchanging gifts on that holiday, but you do see a lot of people purchasing fireworks and going out and all of that. That costs money, but it's not really a gift exchange. So I want you to really focus your intention on when you spend to buy things, either for yourself or for others. So let's turn this into buying things for self or to others. Typically, we will see that around what? Christmas is the major holiday where you see a lot of spending for either yourself or for others. Birthdays are also another one. Weddings, baby showers, Mother's Day, Father's Day, Grandparents' Day, any other kind of day where you feel inclined to give a gift. So if you look at all of these holidays, I want you to really think about, why do you celebrate it? If you see one of these on your list, why do you celebrate the holiday? And more specifically, when you see one of these holidays that you celebrate that you typically spend resources on or for, why is it that you do that? So when we look at our reasons for the seasons, it's really going to allow us to think deeply around why we do what we do, or if we're doing things out of influence because we're seeing things in the media, we're seeing advertisements, we're feeling pressure from others to say, oh, I want this, or I want that, or it's my birthday, so I expect this, or it's Christmas, so I expect this. And are you someone who celebrates the season? Ooh, I'm getting ready to touch on a toe or two. Are you someone that celebrates the season so that you can feel better about yourself? If I could admit, if I could be transparent, if I could tell my truth in this moment, that was definitely me. Because coming from a space of insecurity, coming from a space where I didn't really love myself, coming from a space where I just wanted to feel that love from someone else, I love the way people responded when I gave them a gift. I love to see their reaction. I love the way they jumped up on me. I love the way they hugged me. I love the way they said, thank you so much. I loved it because that young so-so had an insecurity within herself as a result of being teased so badly, as a result of feeling like I was having lack because of the household that I grew up in. And so when I got to the space where I could make my own money, when I got to the space where I had my own credit, let me just say it right, because I really wasn't spending my money. I was spending credit to buy things for people because I wanted them to give me a love that I didn't feel for me. Now, I know that this is getting deep, but I really want you to think about your memories. Let's tap into the reason for the season. What do you remember most? What do you remember most about the holidays? What energy does it bring to you? What emotions come up for you? One of the holiday seasons that I remember the most, that I feel like, of course, was very common in households across the world, is Christmas. Because that's the time where you see the Christmas tree. That's the time where you see the presents under the tree. That's the time where you see the presents under everybody else's tree. That's the time where you see nowadays social media, everybody recording what they're opening on Christmas Day. Those are the memories that I remember. The ripping of the paper, the kids being happy, getting kisses from my family, getting hugs from my loved ones, because I got them something that they might wanted. And sometimes that feeling may not always be the same, because you may have instances in where you get a reaction that you might not have been expecting, but we're not going to go there today. Because sometimes we give so much for others, but they don't even appreciate what we're giving. So here's the real question that I want you to think about, because the only way for you to get to the root of your spending is for you to recognize why you're doing what you're doing, why you're spending what you're spending, why you're giving what you're giving, and what that energy brings to you. So when gifts are exchanged, what are you feeling? When you give a gift, how is it making you feel internally? Is it really for the you? Is it to fill your void? Or is it to fulfill a lack or make up for a lack from your childhood? You all have heard my story so many times. Two small shoes, hand-me-downs, all of that growing up. And because I didn't want the young children in my family to feel the same way I felt when I was growing up around, is there anything under the tree for me? What am I going to get? They got all of this nice stuff. What am I going to get? Oh, I had to show up and I had to show out. I had to show up and I had to show out for the kids. I had to get them the design. I had to get them the Helly Hansen. I had to get them the Ugg boots. I had to get them all of that. because I remember what it felt like going to school and not having the Eddie Bowers. Come on, somebody. I remember going to school and not having the fresh Jordans. Come on, somebody. I remember going to school and not having it. But let's focus and reel it back to the real reason of the season. Why are you even giving in the first place? So if you're bold enough and you're ready enough to get into your childhood experiences, that's what the purpose of this exercise is going to help you do. Because when you go back and you think about your reason for the season, when you go back and you think about why you began to spend in the capacity that you do during the holidays, more than likely it's going to stem back from your childhood. And many times we don't want to revisit the childhood, but this is the only way that you're going to get your breakthrough. This is the only way that you're going to get your elevation. This is the only way that you're going to get your transformation. You got to get to the root. You got to be willing to dig and go all the way down to the bottom. And when I say all the way down, I mean all the way down. Because if you're not willing to face this, then guess what's going to happen? Your behavior will never change. Your mindset will never change. And your spending capacity will never change. Because you're still going to be operating from an 8-year-old behavior, an 8-year-old experience, a 7-year-old encounter that you refused to not address. But with this challenge, I'm going to push you just a little bit. But it's going to be the best push of your life. And don't think that I'm going to set you up with these exercises and not support you. This is the reason why the GrowthWorks submissions, the portal is designed for it to come to me so that I can know when and how to support you best. One of the things you got to realize is that I'm a facilitator and I've been doing this for a while. And one thing that I know how to do is not only review work, but get to the root of your work. So if you could allow me to do that, I would appreciate it for the betterment of your outcome. Because at the end of the day, this is all about you. This is not about me. Are you feeling a void? Or are you looking for a way to make up for some childhood lack that you've experienced? So when you think about your reasons for the season, when you think about revisiting your childhood, what did you feel during the holidays? What did you feel during Christmas? And if you don't celebrate Christmas, choose a different holiday that you know that you celebrate, whether it be a birthday, Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever it is. But I want you to tap into what did you feel in that experience? Think about your most recent holiday. It could either be the last one, whether it be last Christmas, or it could be your last birthday. It could be your last Mother's Day. It could be your last Father's Day. For my men who's watching, I know I got some fellas that's watching. It could be for any holiday where you know that you will receive a gift. Think about as far as you can go back, as far as you can tie that to a childhood experience, how did that make you feel? What were the feelings that were in the atmosphere? Not only that, what did you see? What did you hear? Who did you touch? What did you grab? What did you witness? What did you notice? And what kind of memories come up for you? I always remember the times at my grandma's house. For me, Christmas was grandma's house because that's where everybody went. Everybody showed up at grandma's house on Christmas, whether it be at the same time, different days during the time, but we were still there. Grandma's house was full of the decor. Grandma, we didn't have a lot of money growing up, but grandma sure knew how to make a Christmas look good. We had the wreaths, even though it was an old Christmas tree from years ago that we had to dig out the basement and put together. Had the lights, the balls, the ornaments, presents, all under the tree. I can tell you guys, growing up in my home, like when my mom got her own home, we never had a tree. We always went to grandma's house. Even if we had to bag up all of the gifts, whatever we wrapped, we brought it all to grandma's house and put it under grandma's trees. So that's what I remember. I remember the excitement of that. And I even remember the fights because everybody's family isn't hunky-dory. Everybody's family isn't all nitty gritty. We have some arguments and we had some fights during a lot of the holidays, even Thanksgiving. Fighting, throwing bowls, people getting slammed on countertops and desks and dining room tables and living room furniture. Oh, yeah, all of that. All of that. We've had those moments. So I remember the chaos, but I also remember the excitement, and I also remember the anticipation, and I also remember the sadness. I also remember the disappointment. I also remember the moments of, I'm not even worthy of getting what I would like because my family does not have the ability to. So what are we going to do? I want you to think about your exercise. So the growth work for today is going to look a little bit something like this. Growth work for day 2 is going to comprise of you setting aside 15 minutes to reflect on your past holiday experiences. And I want you to take this 15 minutes seriously. I don't want you to rush through this. I don't want you to think like, oh, okay, well, because I kind of already know or I kind of have an idea. No, I need you to really set a timer for 15 minutes. And I just want you to think about whatever holiday that you want to choose to reflect on. Think on it for 15 minutes. Think about your past experience, even if you want to go back to your later childhood. Think on it for 15 minutes and ask yourself this question. What do you remember most about the holidays? What do you remember most about the holidays? What about the holidays actually get you most excited? I just shared with you guys what got me most excited, seeing all of the decor at grandma's house and the lights and the ornaments. Even though the stuff was old, it looked new every single Christmas. It looked new to me every single Christmas. After you think about what about the holidays get you most excited, I want you to think about what matters most to you. What matters most to you in 2 terms, whether it be presents, like an actual gift, presents, or the presence, the presence, around being with your family, about being in someone's space, around being in their capacity. What matters most to you? Getting the gifts or giving the gifts, or being in the space and in the presence and in the face of your loved ones? Because regardless of the holiday, it's intended to bring family together. But how often do we find that even sometimes in these holidays, it can kind of strip us apart? And even sometimes in these holidays, we could lose sight of what it's supposed to really represent. Is the holiday really about giving gifts? Or is it about connecting with your loved ones? Or is it about expressing a form of love? Or is it about allowing you to not only feel in a space of gratitude, but for you to be able to show love to your family, for you to feel love in a different way that's not tangible? Because there's so many times where we buy things for others the same way that we buy things for ourselves that we don't even touch. Think about that for 5 seconds tonight. So as I pull up your growth work one more time for growth work number 2, set aside 15 minutes to reflect on your past holiday experience. Not only that, remember, what is it that gets you excited about the holidays? What do you remember most? What do you recall the most? What is your greatest memory? And then most importantly, what matters most to you? If you can see the image on the screen, you're going to see some presents in the background. You're going to see some gifts that's wrapped up. Is that what matters more to you? Or is it the presence of a physical human being, someone that you love, someone that you appreciate, someone that you care for? Being in that atmosphere with them, does that matter more to you? So we're going to get a little bit deep. I know you may say, so, you taking it a little bit heavy on me. But don't worry. If you do your part, I'm going to make sure that I do my part to support you throughout this journey. So I ask you once again to take this 15 minutes, Set some time aside tonight or tomorrow because you still have time to think about this. Write in your journal. This is one of the reasons why I share with you all to have a journal so that you can write through this, because this is one of the most therapeutic things that you can do for yourself by not only journaling, but thinking from a holistic standpoint. What is it about the holidays that really get me excited? Why do I buy all of these gifts for people? Am I trying to fill my own ego? Or am I really doing this because I want to be able to be a blessing to somebody else? I want to be able to meet a need for somebody else. I want to be able to show them that I got them in a different way. Because sometimes and oftentimes we give out of obligation. Oftentimes we give because we feel like we are pressed to. Oftentimes we feel like we have to give because of the sake that it's a holiday. But who said that that's what you had to do? Are you letting society now form your norms of how you spend your dollars when society ain't even taking care of you? Don't let me get started on this live because you know that I will. And if you're new to this space, then better believe I will. Kelly Sabrina says, how can we access the private link? So if you have registered for the Vet Your Spending Challenge, then you will receive an email communication with the recap email as well as links to the growth work portal. So if you know that you've registered, I want to encourage you all to make sure that you check your spam folders. Make sure that you check your spam, because I know with my emails, sometimes they have a tendency to either go to your spam folder, depending on who your email provider is, or it could go to your promotional folder, or it could go to your junk folder. So if you know that you've registered and you've used the correct email address, then you will receive the email communications. And I will say this, that I can see every person who received the email. I can see every person who has opened the email. I can see every person who has clicked on the links. I can see every person who has done anything pertaining to this challenge. So if you choose to not open the emails, to not click on the emails, then you're not going to be able to know what's going on. And also I track this. So I have a tracker for my students, registration, people who registered last year. You guys know that I was kind of on y'all like a hawk, following up saying, hey, this is what you had missing. This is what you need to submit. This is where you are. But I want you to be able to take a level of accountability for yourself. Because if you signed up for this challenge, and if you know that we're doing this every day, and you know that I shared the agenda ahead of time, then I want to encourage you to set some time aside in your calendar as suggested and recommended inside of the opening emails, that you set the time aside to do the work in addition to participating in the streams, because the transformation is going to come as a result of you doing your part. So for those of you, you may not have seen the email because it might have gone to your spam. So definitely make sure that you check there. When you're looking at your growth work, you could post it under the video lesson of the day. So when you post it under the video lesson of the day, you could begin to do that. But again, as I said, we're going to be getting a little bit personal, so you may not want to post this publicly, which is why I'm encouraging the private portal. If you're new and you want to register for the Vet Your Spending Challenge, you could also find the links in the description box of this video. Each lesson is intended to feed on one another. So if you're just jumping in, you might want to jump in so that you can get day one's lesson in. Because as we move through this challenge, it's designed to support you along the way. So just because we start here, that doesn't mean it's not a solution in the days to come. The growth work that you're going to do inside of day 2, I want to let you know that your relationship to money depends on it. So when you're doing your growth work for day 2, it is imperative that you own this process, because your relationship to money depends on it. And the only way that it's going to get any better is to the extent that you choose to do better when you're approaching it. Acacia's in the room says, thank you for coming in, kings and queens. Feel free to share, like, and subscribe and join in. So glad that you guys are here. So glad that you're here today. All right, you guys. See you tomorrow for day 3. Get your growth work in. Bye. The